Today, both Hunter Biden and House Republicans held two simultaneous dueling press conferences, and the contrast between these two could not be more stark, as the Republican Party once again stepped on rakes in front of the American people. But before we unpack all that, if you haven't yet, please hit that like, subscribe, and the alert bell. All right, folks, I have several clips to play, but as a reminder, today Hunter Biden was supposed to comply with a subpoena and testify before the House or certain committees in a closed-door deposition, despite the fact that House Republicans had previously offered on multiple occasions for Hunter to publicly testify if he so chose. So today he showed up and demanded that he testify in public. He offered, he said, listen, I'm here. If you want my testimony, come and get it. I am taking you up on your offer. I want to play a clip from the press conference, and then we'll move on to the Republicans.
James Comr, Jim Jordan, Jason Smith, and their colleagues have distorted the facts by cherry-picking lines from a bank statement, manipulating texts I sent, editing the testimony of my friends and former business partners, and misstating personal information that was stolen from me. There is no fairness or decency in what these Republicans are doing. They have lied over and over about every aspect of my personal and professional life. So much so that their lies have become the false facts believed by too many people. No matter how many times it is debunked, they continue to insist that my father's support of Ukraine against Russia is the result of a non-existent bribe. They displayed naked photos of me during an oversight hearing. And they have taken the light of my dad's love for me and presented it as darkness. They have no shame. These same committee chairmen have engaged in unprecedented political interference in what would have already been a 5-year investigation of me. Yet, here I am, Mr. Chairman, taking up your offer when you said we can bring these people in for depositions or committee hearings, whichever they choose. Well, I've chosen. I am here to testify at a public hearing today to answer any of the committee's legitimate questions. Republicans do not want an open process where Americans can see their tactics, expose their baseless inquiry, or hear what I have to say.
That's absolutely the case. As we talked about yesterday when House Republicans brought the impeachment inquiry resolution to the Rules Committee to be adopted, they deliberately deleted language which mandated transparency and openness, language that was in the impeachment inquiry resolutions against Donald Trump, led by Democrats. Okay, so they changed the standards and moved the goalposts. They have no intention of sharing anything with the American people unless they think it can be selectively weaponized. That's a fact. Now, before I play clips from the clown show that was the Republican press conference, I want to play a recent clip from James Comr. This was just from yesterday. This is how pathetic this loser is. This is how insecure he is in his ability to make a case in front of the American people or the media, because he's now afraid to go on Fox News.
We're waiting for, you need to hear these people try and connect. They're trying to excuse themselves or prove their innocence. Why would Ducey say, if all the work you've done, that you have nothing? Why do you think that is?
Well, he's had that position from the very beginning. I've quit going on Fox and Friends because of Ducey. He's the one guy on Fox that's been very critical of the investigation. I have my theory why. We'll talk about that at a later point. But at the end of the day, he's entitled to his opinion. But I don't think the average viewer of Fox News agrees with Ducey one bit.
So because Steve Ducey of Fox and Friends asks questions like, hey, where's your evidence for your claims? James Comr is so insecure that he refused to go back. This man is so pathetic. He talks about half the country who disagrees with him as being low IQ. James Comr is low IQ, objectively less intelligent than every elected Democrat in high office, period. So with that in mind, let's put that on display during today's press conference in which James Comr offered a Freudian slip, which basically revealed the truth.
This has been, I think, the most transparent political congressional investigation since I've been in Congress for 7 years.
I agree. It is the most transparently political investigation in your time in office, 100%. I mean, profoundly pathetic there. You can see him stumble through. It's like, oh, damn, I gave the game away. Don't worry, James. Even if you hadn't made that Freudian slip, we all knew it was transparently political. But it wasn't just James Comr. It's also Jim Jordan. He also misrepresented facts and made an idiot out of himself at this press conference.
Chairman Biden said that his father had no involvement in his business dealings, period. How do you respond?
That's not what Devin Archer said. There was telephone, phone calls, meetings, dinners, you name it. We know what happened with Burisma in Ukraine in that December 4th through December 9th timeframe.
So the problem is, as we've discussed in multiple videos, Devin Archer actually did confirm what the reporter said, which is that Devin Archer has no evidence and would not testify that President Biden, or then just civilian Joe Biden, or then Vice President Biden, had any sort of knowledge or involvement with Hunter Biden's business. He said that Hunter Biden would occasionally put him on the phone or would occasionally call him, but that they'd talk about the weather. He said repeatedly, over and over again, that as far as he knew, there was never any discussion of business between Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. That was repeatedly stated in the testimony. So, of course, Jim Jordan lied, but he's an elected Republican. Of course he lied. But then the other thing is he tried to regurgitate the conspiracy theory about Joe Biden and Burisma in Ukraine, this idea that then Vice President Biden deliberately arranged for the firing of a Ukrainian prosecutor who was investigating his son. But that was debunked not only by me repeatedly and many others, but also recently by Jake Tapper in front of Jim Jordan's colleague, James Comr.
But just for our viewers' awareness, the entire Western world wanted Shokin fired. Like, it wasn't just President Biden. The entire Western world, the European Union, the G8, there were a lot of people, including Republican members of the House and the Senate, who wanted Shokin fired. It wasn't just like Vice President Biden, conspiring with himself. So
that's absolutely the case. So it's just a debunked conspiracy theory, which doesn't make any sense. Now, also at that press conference, Marjorie Taylor Greene made an idiot out of herself. She's over there hovering in the back, and she tried to hijack the conversation and make it even more salacious and ridiculous. And if you can tell, it's so bad that even James Comr is like, shut up.
Chairman, that was memorialized in emails that you guys leaked from Hunter Biden's laptop.
Thank you.
I would like to have asked Hunter Biden about Mann Act violations. Sex trafficking women across state lines.
Thank you all very much. Thank you.
That would have been a good question. You don't seem to care about that, though.
See, even Jim Jordan and James Comr are like, shut up, Marge. Nobody cares about you. And nobody does care about her. Absolutely not. She has nothing of value there. But then there are things outside the press conference. So this is Nancy Mace. We haven't talked about her in a minute. She is the chief Republican grifter, probably the grifter par excellence. This is what she had to say with respect to whether or not there's any policies that Joe Biden changed as part of this alleged bribe.
Can you identify any actual policy decisions that Joe Biden has made in response to getting paid for those policy changes?
Well, that'll be part of the investigation.
So that'd be a no. That's a no. Of course it's a no. Every time a Republican is asked to name policies, they come up woefully short again and again and again. And folks, it's so bad that even Chuck Grassley, who's never encountered a conspiracy theory that he hasn't fallen madly in love with, even he's not buying it.
He said that his father was not financially involved in any way with his business. Do you accept that?
I'm going to take the same position I've taken since 2019, that all I can say is there's some indication of maybe some compromise with China particularly, but I have no evidence of it, and I'm going to just follow the facts where they are, and the facts haven't taken me to that point where I can say that the president's guilty of anything.
So Again, Chuck Grassley made it clear there. He's like, oh, my gut says yes. Oh, there's some sort of indication, but I have no evidence. So therefore I can't claim to have evidence. Therefore I can't arrive at that conclusion. And that's Chuck freaking Grassley, who's been on Hunter Biden's ass for 5 years. Okay. But again, just also as a reminder, as this press conference was going on, you have a Republican congressman named Troy Nells. He's asked a very direct question and he gives a surprisingly candid answer.
Representatives, what are you hoping to gain from an impeachment inquiry?
All I can see is Donald J. Trump 2024, baby.
There you have it. What's his goal for an impeachment inquiry into President Biden? To help Joe Biden get elected. Now, I'll end with this. The Biden-Harris HQ official Twitter page, they posted this thread. Republicans admitting out loud they have no evidence for impeachment. A thread. I have no evidence. I can't say the president is guilty of anything. Chuck Grassley. I acknowledge that there's no evidence of wrongdoing by President Biden, said Chuck Edwards, representative. On impeachment, we don't have evidence, said Michael McCall, Republican representative. No, I've not seen anything close to the bar for impeachment, said Representative John Curtis. Dave Joyce, Republican congressman. You hear a lot of rumor and innuendo, but that's not fact to me. I've not seen any. Dusty Johnson, I've not seen evidence to impeach. Ken Buck, the evidence for impeachment doesn't exist right now. Lisa McClain, the short answer is no. We haven't uncovered any evidence for impeachment, and so on and so forth. Folks, this is a witch hunt. Now, at the time of recording, they're debating the resolution that will be voted on by Republicans. Republicans seem confident they have the votes. It's a razor-thin margin. There are 18 Republicans in Biden districts. They can't afford to lose any of them. I think there's still a shot at the time of recording, that the impeachment inquiry vote doesn't make it through, but it's looking increasingly likely. But just so you know, in the end, there is no evidence that they've uncovered after a year of their best efforts. They've repeatedly tripped over themselves, stepped on rakes in front of the American people in press conferences, even on Fox News. It's so bad that the leader, the grand inquisitor of this, can't show his face on Fox and Friends because he might run into somebody who says, hey, we'd really like evidence for your claims. Can you provide it? And then he'd have to answer no. An absolute disaster. Every elected Republican should be asked about this relentlessly. They should be mocked about this relentlessly. And any person, and I do mean this, that you encounter online who happens to support this, you should engage with them on it and make them produce evidence, challenge them, be like, okay, what's your evidence? What's your evidence? And then when they fail inevitably to provide it, please make fun of them because they deserve it. Let me know what you think in the comments.